what we're trying to do is find any type of vulnerability in our service. And so we start on the inside, and we do everything we can. We hire outside testers, and then we engage the public. And the goal is to try and find every possible vulnerability on our site. What we're asking the general public to do is if you understand security and you want to try and find a vulnerability on our site, we'd be happy to work with you. We've set up some guidelines about how to do it so that when you do testing, it doesn't break privacy or intrude on someone else's privacy, but allows you to actually test the site. And that way we can actually get the information that you might have without harming privacy and actually increasing security.
Now, is the Facebook Bug Bounty program different than the programs run by, say, Google, Microsoft, Mozilla, or any of the other big technology companies?
It's very similar. We all start with the same premise, and that is that we want to crowdsource security, that we know that there are many people around the world who have security talents who aren't living and working where we have offices. So our goal is to engage that security community, invite them to work with us, and pay them if they can help us do a better job. There are some differences between the different programs. All of our programs are evolving over time, but for the most part, what we're trying to do is reward good security behavior.
Do you worry, though, that people will find a hole and not inform you about it and instead try to exploit it for their own gain?
Well, we worry about that whether or not we have a bug bounty program. So what we think is that the more we have programs like this, the less likely there'll be situations where someone will try and find a vulnerability and not report it to us.
So you're aligning your incentives. What is the biggest drawback to Facebook's bug bounty program?
Well, I think that when you start a bug bounty program, there are a number of things that you have to make sure you understand and are ready to do. For example, you need to be responsive. If you engage people around the world and you tell them that you will pay them money to do something, you better be there, ready to respond when they send you a report. So we get many reports, and we have to kind of work our way through all of them, figure out which ones are particularly relevant or helpful, then engage with those security experts, and of course we then have to pay them.
Bug Bounty at Facebook is about a 2-year-old program. In some ways, isn't this just a more cost-effective way of managing your expenses, your security expenses, because you are only paying out for people who find something, as opposed to full-time employees who are always scanning for problems?
It's actually, it's 100% an incremental expense for us. We're always going to do all of the security work that we would do otherwise, all of the security work that any other company does. So we hire the best engineers, we hire the outside pen testers, we hire consultants and auditors. We're constantly scrutinizing ourselves, trying to make ourselves better. But I think that what the evolution of these bug bounty programs has shown, and the statistics that you see about the programs, not just from Facebook but from those other companies as well, is that no one's perfect when it comes to security, and you need to engage with smart people around the world, and you'll have great benefit if you do. By crowdsourcing, we're not outsourcing, we're increasing the quality inside the company and all the way around. And in fact, we've even hired 2 people that we got to know through our bug bounty program.
So in a way, it's a bit of a recruiting tool. Security is definitely Facebook's biggest problem, headache. And the single largest reward that Facebook has given is $20,000. Tell us about what that particular person found and accomplished.
Well, we've actually paid out $20,000 at a couple of different times. When we started the bug bounty program, we didn't want to set up a cap on the maximum we would pay out, but at the same time we didn't want to start a large debate over how do you characterize one bug versus another. We recently put out a blog post kind of explaining how we decide whether one vulnerability report is more valuable to us than another. And it's a bunch of different factors. So certainly one part of it is how large is the vulnerability in terms of impact to user privacy and security. But on top of that, how well was it documented? How easy was it for us to understand and work on and repair? And then also, sometimes a bug identifies a very discrete problem, and other times it identifies a series of problems. And so for us, a small bug that might indicate that there's a problem with a whole family of code would be actually more valuable. And so we kind of add up all those different factors and determine the amount to pay.